Hello everyone, welcome back to Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Today's video will be on a classic Sudoku created by an author called Mellowrobinson. I found this classic on the Sudoku testing submissions page of the CTC Discord server. This classic is titled 56 and I've solved this classic already. I found it to be really hard, but I thought of making a video on this classic. The link to solve this is in the description of the video. Please do give it a try. And come back and watch the video, but do be warned that this is a very hard classic and solving it logically might not entirely be possible, but you can check out the video for the solve path. And if you really enjoy the videos that we are putting out on the channel, please subscribe and also consider supporting us on Patreon if you really love the work we are doing. The link is in the description of the video. So having said that, let's start this classic Sudoku. Standard classic rules apply, which means each row, each column and 3x3 box in the grid has digits 1 to 9 without any repetitions. So let us start this classic. As I've solved it, I'll try to take you through the exact solve path. So 3 in box 5, you can place it instantly. 3 goes here, 3 goes here, 3 goes here, right? 3 in column 7 and 9, so 3 goes here. And there are many options for 3 in box 7. So let's look at 8s now. 8 in box 5 has to be here. 8 in box 7, we can place an 8. 8 goes here. Right, now let's look at 1s. So the 1 has an interesting logic going on about it. So let us look at this column first and try to understand what is happening. So 1 in column 2 has two options, can be here or here, right? And 1 in column 5, if you look carefully, has to be here or here, just these two cells. Rest of the cells can't take a 1. And 1 in column, let's see, column 7 has to be here or here, right? Only these two possibilities. So we have identified now 3 columns, column 2, column 5 and column 7, where there are exactly 2 possibilities for the 1. And you will also notice that the 1s are going in exactly 3 rows. When you consider these columns together, the 1s are exactly going in 3 rows totally, row 2, row 6 and row 9. So when you restrict the possibility of a digit to exactly 3 rows and 3 columns, then that technique is called a Swatfish. I know I'm jumping straight into the Swatfish, but you won't see much logic otherwise, right? So it's important to use this Swatfish to continue the Sudoku. So now let us see how we can make use of these ones to progress further. So I said you that this technique is called Swatfish, but what does it do exactly? So what it does is, let me highlight these cells as red. So in column 2, 1 goes here, column 5, 1 goes here, and column 7, 1 goes here. So what it basically does is it eliminates the rest of the cells from those rows, row 2, row 6 and row 9, from taking 1s. So none of these yellow cells, right, can take a 1. Because you know 3 rows or 3 columns can exactly take 3 1s. You cannot take more than those. The moment you put 1 in any of these yellow cells, the balance gets upset and you will get 4 1s in 3 columns or 4 1s in 3 rows. So you can try and see. So for example, what happens if I put a 1 here? So in column 7, 1 goes here, right? 1 will be forced here. And in column 5, 1 is forced here because 1 cannot go here. Now you'll see that column 2 cannot take a 1, right? So the balance is upset. So basically this is how a Swatfish works, right? So none of those yellow cells can take a 1. So now we need to remember that. So I'm going to make use of that fact. Let us put this yellow and see where the 1 is, cornered because of those deductions. So in box 6, 1 is now having only 2 options, these 2 cells, because the yellow cannot take 1, right? And 1 in box 4 has only 2 options. Yellow cannot take 1, so these 2 options. And 1 in box 7 now, again 2 options. Cannot be here, cannot be here, cannot be, has to be in one of these 2 cells. Similarly in box 8, 1 has only 2 options, these 2, right? All these cells cannot be 1s. And let us look at this box. Again, 1 has 2 options. It cannot be here, it cannot be here, so 1 has 2 options, these 2 cells. Similarly, 1 is 2 options, right? So now let us remove these yellow cells, right? So in every box, basically what I have done is reduce the possibility of 1 into 2 cells, which otherwise would have been 3, but now we have reduced it into 2 cells. Now let us take it forward, right? So this is what we have done with the 1s. Now let us see what we can do with the 2s. These reds can be removed. You will notice that the 2s also have a beautiful Swatfish going on. So let us see now. In column 2, if you see where the 2 goes, there are exactly 2 cells. Let us mark them using pink. And in column 5, 2 has exactly 2 cells, right? And in column 7 again, right? 2 cannot be in any of these cells, so 2 has exactly 2 options, right? So what I have done, column 2, column 5 and column 7, just like what I did for the ones, I have reduced the possibility of 2s into 2 cells in those 2 columns. Now the next thing you see, whether these columns fit into exactly 3 rows. So you have row 2, you have row 4, and you have row 7, and lo and behold, they are restrained to exactly 3 rows and 3 columns. So now we have a Swatfish again. So which basically means none of these cells, the rest of the cells in that row, cannot take, let us see, make an orange. So none of these yellow cells can take a 2, because just like what I showed for the ones, if you put 2 in any of the sorry, not yellow cells, it's orange cells, then the balance would be upset and you won't be able to force 2 in one of the columns, right? So now let's make use of that. So 2 is not here and 2 is not in any of the orange cells, so 2 has just these 2 options, right? Cannot be here, it cannot be here, so 2 has just these 2 options. And now 2 cannot be here, 2 cannot be in the orange cell, so 2 has again just these 2 options. Let us look in each box and do the same thing, right? Cannot be here, cannot be here. So basically what we have done is 1-2 pair. Of course, we could have written the 1-2 pair right at the start, but I wanted to show you the Swatfish, right? So 1-2 pair could have been reduced right at the start. So let us put this in. Okay, have I done in every box? 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 and 2 and 2, 2 and 2. And this box, so just these 2 cells. Remember, the orange cannot take 2s. So now let us remove the orange cells. So we have made a Swatfish on 1s and 2s and eliminated a lot of possibilities for 1s and 2s. But does it give anything? Not really, because apart from the digit that we wrote at the start, the solo digits, there's nothing you're obtaining. But here is where you'll see that the Sudoku gets interesting. So we've got this pair. Of course, you can continue making some pencil marks here, but I don't think they'll take us anywhere. The thing that you have to notice here is the 1s and the 2s have a distinct way of going, right? They have only 2 possibilities in each box, most of the boxes. So which means either 1 and 2 goes along one chain or 1 and 2 go along a different chain. By that I mean, if this is a 1, let us start with a blue here, for example, and call this maybe green. So if blue is 1, then green is 2, right? Now let us keep doing that. So this would be a 1 because this is blue. So this would be a blue. And now the green 2 goes here. Now 2 cannot be here, so this would be the green 2. And blue is here, so blue goes here. Blue cannot be here, so blue goes here. And you can fill the things. So 2 goes here. 1 cannot be here, so 1 is here. So And finally this, right? Green is here, so this would be 2. This is one setup. I started with the 1 in blue cell, and I got all the other 1s and 2s. The same thing applies. If you start with a 2 here, I started with the 1 here. If you start with the 2 here, then simply all the blues get replaced by 2s and all the greens replaced by get replaced by 1s. Simple to see, right? Just they have a chain. They're forming a chain. What happens is, how these 3s break one of those chains. So how do I put it in an easy way? Now, what happens if this cell is a 3? I know it's difficult to think about how these 3s influence, but this is how the Sudoku works, and I used a lot of other tricks. In fact, to be very frank, I used some other chain to complete the Sudoku at the start, but then I looked into the Sudoku and then I saw the comments, and the author's intended path is more or less this way. So if this is a 3, let's see what happens. 3 is in one of these 2 cells. If this is a 3, you'll notice that, right? This is a 3. 1 is forced here, right? Because of this 3, 1 gets forced here. Now, this cell, you'll notice that, actually to start with, let me make it simple. 1, 5, 6, 4, 7, 8 and 9. So this, to start with, this can take only 2 or a 3. So if this is a 3, this is 1, this is 2, which is instantly forced, right? I'm trying to see the shortest chain that would break this. Now 2 would be forced here, and that would force a 2 here, a 2 here, a 2 here, and a 2 here. Yeah, I've seen the shorter way. So if you have a 3 here, automatically these 2 get forced, right? Now look what the 1 does. Because of the 1 here, 1 is forced into this cell. Now, which means this is 2 cells. So this is where I stop. Not more than 3 or 4 digits, right? Now, what is going on here? How can you say that this Sudoku is broken at this point? The reason being, 2 is in different colors. This simply cannot happen. I just surmised a few minutes back that when 1 is in blue, all the other cells get filled. Whichever cell was a blue would take a 1, and whichever cell was green would take a 2. And similarly, when you swap the digits, when 1 is in green, the 2s will all be blues. Now what happens is, if you put a 3 here, we have landed it up in a scene where 2 is in both greens and blues. This simply cannot happen because the Sudoku will break at some point. 2 is in 2 different colors. It has to either be in greens or it has to either be in blues. This cannot happen. So this is why 3 cannot be in this cell. So which means 3 has to be here. And that gives me a 3 here. So let us remove the 3's here. And which means 3 is in one of these 2 cells, right? Now you see how the Sudoku is progressing, guys. The moment you get past this really difficult barrier, you will see that you get a lot of digits. I'm not sure if there is any other easier way to see this contradiction, but this is how the Sudoku is supposed to be solved. And I also didn't solve it this way. I saw some other complicated contradiction. But anyway, of course, I saw the Swatfish on 1s and 2s, and after that it was different. But right, so 3 is in these 2 cells, 3 is in these 2 cells, which means in column 2, 3 has to be here. So you can eliminate the 3 from here. So 3 goes here. The moment you do this, now you'll see that 2 is pushed here and you get all the other 2s. So 2 goes here. 2 cannot be here, 2 goes here. So this is established now. So 1 and 2. Now all the blues are 2s. What? I'm sorry. Did I explain something wrong at the start? No, not really, not really. So the 1 now goes here. Let us make all the greens as ones. No, I'm getting confused. Yeah. So what I said was, I said that if 1 is in blue, then this has to be true. However, I just made a slight mistake while saying that if 1 is in green, then blues and greens swap. This is not necessarily 2, because when 1 is in green, this becomes, there is a totally different two-way possibility. But of course, it will all be constrained to these 3 cells. The only change that I wish to make in my statement is, if 1 is in greens, it will totally take a different path. Then 2 is blue, so 2 goes here, but 1 would go here. So I have to use a different color, but I don't think it's necessary. So the change I wish to make is, if 1 is in greens, it will take a totally different path. However, that path will also be fixed. That is, which will involve basically 2 cells if 1 is in green. So let me show you. Maybe let's use a different color. It's always complicated for me to explain using colors. So let us see, we assume that 1 is in this cell now, right? If 1 is in blue, then green is 2. If 1 is in this cell, let's call it pink, then what happens to the 2? 2 goes here. Let us use orange maybe. So pink and orange, right? So 1 cannot be here, so 1 goes here, pink. And because orange is here, so this is orange. So you can basically see that every cell will again have 2 possibilities, right? So this is what I meant. Right, now what we do, so we got the 3 here. We can continue along the path. So 2 goes here, so this is 3. Now 2 is not here, so 2 goes here. So this is 1, this is 2. 2 cannot be here, so this is 2. And 1 has to be here now, because every box we had reduced 1 and 2 to exactly 2 cells. 1 is here, 1 is here, 1 is here, right? And 1 is here. So all these cells can be removed of its color. Right. Okay, so now we have got a bunch of digits. You will see that the Sudoku becomes more or less easy to solve. So 9 isn't here, 9 goes here, 9 goes here, 3 is here, so 3 goes here, 4, 5 and 7, so I can complete this column. 7 isn't here, so 7 goes here, and 2 has to be here now, right? I haven't put all the 2s, should finish off the 2s. So this is 6. These 2 cells are 5, 9. These would be 4, 8. And 4 is in here. So this is a 4, this is a 8. Alright, let's look at this row. 4, 5. So this is 5, this is 4, because I have a 4 here. 5 cannot be here, so 5 goes here. So 6 and 9 finishes off this box. 4 and 7, 4, 7. These would be 6 and 9. Look at this cell. 1, 9, 2, 3, 5, 8, 4 and 7. This is a 6. This would be 4, 7 for the column. So 8, 9 to complete this row. Nice. This would be 4, 5, because 2, 3, 6, 8 and 1, 7, 9. So this is 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. So 5, 7, 9. This is 7, 9. 7, 8, 9. So 6 goes in one of these 2 cells. 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 8. So I need to put 6, 7, 9. So this is 6, 7, 7, 9 and 6, 7, 9. And 7 is not in these 2 cells. So 7 goes here, which means this isn't a 7. So 1, 3, 6 and 7, 2 and 8. So this would be, oh, come on, what am I doing? 7, 6, 9, 6, 8, 7, This is 9. This is 6 and 9. Let's finish off this. So this would be 8. That puts 8 here. 4, 5 and 9. 9 is here. 4 and 5. Not a 7. 7 goes here. Almost done. So this has to be a 4 or 5 for 0. This 9 is here, so that's a 5. 9. This has to be 5. 5 in this box goes here. 5 goes here. 4 goes here. 5 goes here. 4 goes here. 4 and 7. 4 goes here. 7 goes here. 4, 7 and 8. And with that, we completed this tough Sudoku by Mellowrobinson, but it highlighted a really nice chain of logic, you can say. 1 and 2s, involving the 1 and 2s. At the start, one had to use the Swatfishes to reduce the 1 and 2 to many of the cells, to exactly 2 cells in many of the boxes. And then you have to make use of the 3s to prove that one of the chains becomes wrong, and then that gives the other 2s. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do remember to like and subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate your support. Doesn't take much time to subscribe. So please subscribe, and we'll see you soon again with a video. Bye-bye.